hip hop alone. Now we could get into the rest of music, all of it, and sports and entertainment that has made billions of dollars off black people. But hip hop alone has generated enough money to eliminate poverty in America for black people, really for everyone. And that is not an exaggeration. It might sound like it, but it's not. And it's when you see how little of a portion the artists are getting and they're rich, it just makes you realize how much money is really being generated, you know? So if it was allowed to stay within the community, I mean it's like this whole MC Serge selling Nas's publishing thing. Like I watched his
Oh yeah,
not
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
and he constantly says it was just I forget, it was like 2% or something. He's like, it was just 2%. It was just 2%. But then he'll say in the same breath, we ate off that for a minute. You know, he's like, me and my family, that was a blessing for us. So 2% of the greatest hip hop album of all time is a lot of money. So imagine if 2% went to Queensbridge housing projects, where Nas comes from. Something like that, you know, that we don't even talk about those kinds of things because we're so used to this.
Well, it's a little deeper. Like I'm not trying to offend you, but it is. There's also like, okay, if you look at stock evaluations, right? You could have a company like Tesla, which is maybe it's not profitable yet, but the stock has such a high value because of the implied value it has. Some people may not know about this. It's called evaluations, right? So yeah, Elmatic is dope. Think about the money that Search brought in just from being associated with Elmatic. So that there's stuff that you can't put dollar signs on that are
Right.
there and that people in the know about. And that's how they make these business decisions. So for example, major record labels, right? They operate at a loss. They lose to 300 to 400 million every year. So you're thinking, oh, how are they losing money? Like, isn't that bad? But it's like, now you got to think deeper. They're making so much money for the economy on the back end that their value is way higher than what you see on their balance statement. Because think about it. What happens if you push music with propaganda that makes everyone feel like they can't trust their neighbor? They got to do hard drugs to fit in. They got to be violent. They got to shoot someone to be authentic, to be valid. If you have that kind of stuff, you're killing people. You're lowering the labor pool supply. You're making it easier for the economy to keep pay low. So the value you're adding to the economy is in like the trillions.
And
So
prison labor,
like,
there's a lot of money too.
in what?
Prison labor generates a lot of money too. That's, a big part of it.
Yeah, true. It's like the main source of money for some economies and like more rural areas in the South. Like they're really that's a
Well, I
huge
mean,
source of
not
revenue for
not
them.
not to be like the
Making
the
money
bully
off
right here,
black
but so
kids.
the owner of Hot 97 in New York, the rap radio station, is MS Communications. The owner of MS Communications owns private prisons throughout the Northeast. So it's not a
Really?
conspiracy. Yes. See, this is all common knowledge to me growing up in the industry, right? My thing, I went viral at like 18. I'm from the hood, right? So I saw so much of this stuff coming up. I didn't know because I was so young. I thought, oh, I gotta follow them. Somebody said trust me, I gotta trust him. I'm 18. You know, what do I really know? But that's not an excuse anymore to me. I'm older now. So it's like all these things that they want you talk about the propaganda or the like the marketing, right? That fucks with people's lives. And then they'll tell you, what's your source? Bro, I don't need a source. I live life. I know I talk to people. And nowadays people are so smart that they're stupid. They're so
Right.
smart that they need a source to see something that's right in front of your eye.
Right. And that's what we were talking about how college makes people dumber because they have, instead of having an open mind and realizing there's stuff that they haven't heard, they go through college, they take these classes, and then if they hear anything after that they didn't hear in college, it's not valid in their mind, So
It needs to be peer reviewed. Everything needs to be peer reviewed. You need to be able to have a link to everything so people don't just look around them and develop sort of an ideology based on what they see. It's they wait for like accepted information to come out. So like you see it happen all the time where you'll say something is going on and everybody's like you're crazy, and then it comes out later, and then once it's like accepted, people are able to hop on it. But people don't go through life um just having theories about what's going on and just thinking critically about what's going on around them anymore. They're paralyzed and they
Bro,
need art.
this is my thing. You don't have to think critically. Like this is how I look at it. Because I'm from the hood, but I have I work in the corporate world, so I see both sides. People on the street, they don't think critically. They literally just go look. Oh yeah, the small group of people run everything, and we're fucked. They don't need to read. They don't need to analyze it. They don't need to sit back and breathe it. They live it in their daily life. So when you have people, okay, so this is the problem with the industry, right? We love to talk about the people on the bottom, how we care about them, how we're going to support them, right? But who speaks for them? It's always the people that are totally divorced from that environment, right? Doesn't matter what race they are. You got all the journalists, you got music executives, you got rap promoters, you got A&Rs. All these people are from privileged backgrounds, even if they may be a certain race, gender, creed, right? They only select the people from the most privileged backgrounds to speak on their behalf. So then that's why, okay, like, let me get even more real. Like, let me rant for a second. Let me get more real. Rap music has the worst, stupidest, most insecure, retarded little dick fans you could ever find in the history of music, okay? Their penises, they're so insecure about their penis size that they think, oh, look at this rapper who's talking about being conscious and like, the street and like how to make it out of the environment. That's corny, because why are you talking about stuff like that? I can't relate to that. When I think of this is them talking. When I think about the hood, I'm thinking about like the gangster shit, the grimy shit. I'm in the hood. I'm like popping gas. I'm selling drugs. Yes, these things happen, but that's not the whole part of the hood. But if you're divorced from that environment, you assume that that's what's going on in the hood. So when you see someone saying like, hey, I don't like the gun violence. I don't like when they're shooting guns in the video. They'll be like, what are you talking about? That's who they are. That's who these lowly people in the street, no money, whatever. That's how these lowly people are. So what's your problem? They're the ones that are racist because, well, I don't want to even go into racism and all the isms and shit because they manipulate that shit too. But these are the people telling us that the stuff, if we want positive representation, if we want the opposite of negative imagery in our music, that we're the ones that are wrong. And it's these journalists, okay, the main problem is the journalists. Let's keep it real. It's the journalists, record label, execs. They're the ones that totally divorced from the hood, but they want to tell you what it's like from the hood and what offends the hood. My bad, bro. Like it's crazy to me because if you just lived in the hood, it would be so normal. You wouldn't even have to think. You wouldn't have to write an essay. You wouldn't have to ask for a source because you live and breathe this shit. But somehow the people who get to talk and have a mouthpiece, they don't live and breathe anything. They live and breathe the internet and timeline and think pieces and think that's how people really think.
Yeah. And like you said about the insecurity, like people lack intellectual confidence. Like you said, like basic observations about reality without reading a book, without even thinking critically, just knowing that you don't have what you need to survive and you see how much resources does exist. Like people don't have, if they haven't heard someone else say it, they're scared to say a new thought. And I think that's what holds people back the most. And that ties into hip hop because I see it all the time. Like, bro, look, I mean, I know so many talented artists, like honestly, not even to just get into that, but if you
get into that, you don't have to name a name, but just get into it. Just describe it.
Yeah, bro, go to unitydiversityfreedom.com, bro. Like tell me like, and I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm saying like a lot of really talented people, but until it's co-signed by someone with that the masses take as an arbiter of reality, they won't take it seriously. And especially the journalists and the DJs, which is their job. It's like right now, like the main person
let's keep okay. I don't want to speak for everyone. The journalists, the DJs, they're the enemy. They're the retarded enemy who hates us. They hate the people on the bottom. To the DJ and the writer, it's way more important that other people think that they're valid in the hood because they're so pussy that they would never even come around the hood for one day. They can't shop on Jamaica Avenue by themselves, but they want to tell us what's right, what's racist, what's this, how great Mac Miller is. Fuck Mac Miller. Okay, like if you really look into this shit, who they support, the garbage propaganda they support, and who they say is whack, it has nothing to do with the music. Let's keep it real. It has nothing to do with the music. It's about promoting values that hurt the people at the bottom. That's all they care about. And because their own validity, having the next person think they're cool because they were never cool growing up because they were trying to like learn how to read and write because they're a little pussy and they've never been valid. They could never rap. They can never make beats. They can never tune a snare drum right. So now they're saying they're promoting the worst parts of the culture so somebody could pat them on the back because they're pussy and insecure and have nothing of value to bring to the culture. And it's all journalists, all rap journalists. They're all like that. They're all trash and they're all garbage.
And they've created this thing now, this new thing where you have to prove how real you are. It's not enough to say hard shit in your songs. Now we're going to do investigative journalism to figure out if you actually killed anybody. Because if you didn't actually kill anybody, then you're not hard. And that's something that they brought that's fucked everything up. And now people have to name drop bodies that they have in their songs, risk these fucking court cases because you have to prove that you're real now. You didn't used to have to do that. You could say hard shit and it wouldn't be the best substance for rap music, but they wouldn't make you go and prove that. So now people before they even make rap music, they're like, all right, I need to go out and do some shit so I could be real in my music. That didn't used to exist before these fucking culture vulture rap journalists made it into a thing by the type of shit that they're writing.
And now everybody knows about, I'm not going to say any names out of respect, but these dead kids that weren't even artists that just because, like you said, now people are pressured into confessing for bodies in their songs to get a buzz. And it works because you'll have a whole documentary about you on Trap Lord Ross or whatever, No Jumper. And yeah, bro, like, yeah.
Listen. It's even deeper than that because we're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because we think we're good people. Well, you guys are good people. I'm not a good person, bro. I'm the truth teller. So I'll tell you straight up what's going on. Okay, like I'll tell you all these artists. Mac Miller. Why do they promote Mac Miller? Because if you're a crazy white boy in the crew, the only way to prove yourself now is to do hard drugs or get faced. I'm sure you're gonna commit violence too, because the Xans, the lean, they help you commit crime much easier, right? They help you commit those crimes, right? But the whole point of it, look, it's like that dude from Euphoria, and you know what's his name, Fez from Euphoria. That's not a real person. I've never met one white boy like that. On some real shit. I'm not saying white dudes aren't hard. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is that type of I'm a well, like I could compose myself and also deal heroin. That doesn't exist, bro. If you know white heroin dealers, they're on the shit. They're on the horse. Real shit. Why is Lil Baby rapping about being on the horse in jail? Why is he rapping about that? I know people think it's real because it is. It's mad real because that's one of the most ill things to do is do it on horse. But why are we promoting that? Why are we using that as the criteria for what's dope? Because, okay, like we all did a little H and it was fire. But why are we promoting that?
Well, people will say, fucking that it's just a reflection of the environment they're in. But why does all music need to be a reflection of the worst aspects of the environment you're in? And why do we need to be selling that to people who don't even know anything about the environment? Yeah, the people that are from that environment will recognize that it's real, but we're selling it to people that don't know anything about it, and we're selling them a narrative that they don't need in their head.
It's a reflection of the environment, but it's not the full story. Yeah, people are doing it. Every single time you see somebody crashing out over drugs, it's because they felt they were invalid or insecure, not enough of a man, not hard enough, not tall enough, not strong enough, not good enough, or they were sexually abused as kids. That's like a huge part of it too. Okay. So if you're gonna reflect what's going on in the street, why don't you talk about it? Yo, the dude that's on the H, he's not partying. He's sad because his dad raped him, bro. You can't talk about that. These little white boys are getting raped by their dads and their uncles. They're doing opioids. We got record teen suicide. All right, but we can't talk about that, right? But we could say that it's really dope. All my friends are dead. You know, EXO Tour Life. I love that song, but that's one of the worst messages you could send to someone on what it means to be cool.
It's a painkiller. It kills pain. That's why people take it.
But we don't talk about the pain though.
Right, exactly.
I'm not saying it's bad to lose your life to drugs or to crash out over drugs. Like it's bad, but it's way worse to pretend like that's not why they're doing it. If someone's going crazy on drugs, that's a call for help. That means something's wrong in your life. You need someone to hold you. That means you need someone to come like you get a pill, like you're on heart. You need someone to come and hold you like this. You know what I mean? That's what's going on in your life. But nobody's talking about that. And
that's what heroin means. Heroin is what a woman hero. That's the definition of the word. It just feels like a nice warm hug, you know, nice warm mom hug. So
we could talk about the violence, but we can't talk about what precipitated the violence. We can talk about the drug use, but we can't talk about why they're using the drugs. And we could talk about the environment, but we can't talk about what made the environment. And it's not like you're not allowed to, but if you talk about those things, they'll be like, oh, this motherfucker is corny. So I mean, it's partially on us as consumers because that's what we like.
Yo, bro,
I don't want to.
I can't even blame the yo. You're right. I can't blame the rapper because the rapper, their skill is finding out what moves the crowd, what people like, and they just make that. I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 rappers. I'm not saying they're like invalid, but they're just trying to make the fan happy. They're trying to give the fan what they want, and that's what I'm trying to say is the rap fan is one of the stupidest, most insecure, little dick, no life, no friend having, their dad raped them ass fan you could ever find. And then you have the rap journalists who are the just as invalid, just as pussy, just as insecure and retarded, but they went to a good school. And now their ticket to validity is co-signing all the stuff. So the people who should know better, they not only do they fail their responsibility, they actually help promote the worst aspects of it. And then when you try to even call it out a little bit, they say, oh no, that's the culture. You would only think that's the culture if you're totally divorced from the street, from talking to people who go through this shit. They say, oh, that's the culture. To me, that's not the culture. That's marketing. You're talking about rap marketing, and you're trying to pass that off as rap culture.
Right. Right.
Listen, so, don't get me started because I got so much hate, bro.
I feel you, man. I mean, we've seen it with our own eyes. Like when I was coming of age, right, as a teenager, that's right when, I mean, Lil Wayne, I Feel Like Dying, you know? I remember like in early high school, just being with the homies, just playing that over and over and over again. And like, I was exposed to drugs at a young age, like 16, 15 and stuff. And I mean, the whole city I come from turned upside down because of that shit. And like, during that era. But let's talk about how, like,
I mean, we should talk about that. I was out in the Bay. I was out in the Bay, bro. I was out in the Bay. That's why I left the West Coast. All along the West Coast is all that's everybody you meet. I got to tell you, like,
but hold up.
Yeah.
Just let me finish that point. Like, so if you would have told me at that point when I was 17 that in 2020, 2016, whatever, it would be completely mainstream to talk about pop and perks. Now, pop and perks to make your dick work, ironically, that was like, if you listen to like Meek Mill and all, like, they're popping perks so you can fuck all night without nutting, right? That was like the way they slip it in there so it doesn't seem like junkie shit. It's like, oh, I'm just fucking bad bitches, so I pop a perk so I can fuck all night. Which, whatever, it might do that. You do too much, you're not gonna be fucking at all. But like, if you would have told me that would have been mainstream as a teenager, I would have not believed you. I mean, you can listen to the early UDF music. We were talking about the drug shit in a way that no one else ever did, you know? But I would have never guessed, even at that era, that it would be what it is now. And like, it was really Wayne who was that. Lean used to be a Texas thing, right? And it's like, this is a conspiracy that I've always thought of, but like, it's almost like there was some meeting or something where they're like, okay, like, in the 80s, we almost had the Black community like strung out, but then it became passe. And then it was like, okay, the crackheads, those are like the older people. We don't do that shit. No dope, no heroin. How can we get the new kids on that shit? Because it's like the whole crackhead era has such a stigma on it. Well, isn't there a stereotype? Like Black people, they like tasty drinks, right? Like, what if we made like a grape flavored beverage and put the heroin in it, and then you mix it with soda, and it fucking worked, man. And like, it spread across the world. And like, I told you about that clip of Lil Wayne saying that he had a pharmaceutical sponsorship. And like, I mean, I don't know the details behind that. I don't know if he was trolling. It didn't seem like he was trolling. He was saying someone's giving it to him. And any valid doctor, even if they give you enough lean to drink every day, they're not giving you enough to drink a pint every day. So,
bro, in pharma, we celebrate and cheer. When there's a new rap song promoting lean, when Kurt Cobain dropped, we all in the meeting, the business meeting, we all stopped and opened a glass of wine and started cheering because they just got a new song promoting drug use. Our sales go up 20-30% every time they rap about lean. You don't think we're happy about that? That's what I'm trying to say. That's where the record labels are operating at a loss, right? I'm not trying to be like too like definitive or like, you know, like trying to tell you exactly how it is. But, you know, if we're even a little bit aware, see, this is the problem. Like, you're not even allowed to intellectualize things because we're so anti-intellectual about this stuff. Because in rap, if you actually break shit down or know more than you're supposed to know, you're corny, right? And who promotes that? Who promotes that it's corny to know who gets paid from what? So in Big Pharma, we love it. When we see, I don't care, even if it's just white boys dying from opioids, we love that. When white boys die from opiate, we pop open champagne. We start playing music. Ooh, another white boy died. Yes, bro. Yes, another white boy died. We love that, bro. In pharma, we love that. So we're happy. That's what I'm trying to say is like people think that it's some other shit like, oh, you're trying to criticize a group of people or a race. It's like, no, it's about money at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to get into the emotions and all that stuff. I'll just tell you who's getting paid from what, and you could connect the dots. Yo, we love it when white boys die from opioids. You know how dope that is for us? That's more votes for the Democrats. We love that.
And it's not just white boys either, bro. Like I mean, that shit affected everybody.